Hello, people. Good evening. Welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. We are here to discuss, obviously, today's story, which is Daniel Farke. Well, it was reported by the Daily Mail around lunchtime that Daniel Farke could potentially, before the season's even started, be sent for the high jump. I've obviously brought on the lads to discuss this. I wanted to get their opinion on it first and foremost, whether or not they think it's the right decision. But also, then we're going to have a look at some positives and negatives if indeed they did choose to do it. Because I think it's important to give a fair, or give it a fair discussion. I would have got a Farke outer on, but half at the time they really struggled to formulate opinions properly. So it's hard for me to find one. I'm joking. Kilgallen, I'm joking. Sean Healy, I'm joking. We will get into it. So basically, the Daily Mail, and what I will say for the Daily Mail, they have ran with a lot of 49ers stuff. They have done historically. Jack, stop grinning at me, yeah? Just let me finish my piece first, yeah? You see, you're like, Joe, you're full of shit. They have ran with a few things. One specifically, which I did put in our group chat, which I found quite interesting. It might be nothing, but back in January of 2024, Mike Keegan, who ran the article, actually went over to the 49ers and they had a look at their data-driven operations and discussion about Ellen Road and the £200 million redevelopment. He went over to Levi's Stadium and would have spoke specifically with the 49ers at that moment in time. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, maybe that's where the connection comes from in terms of why he tends to get these stories. I remember when they first took over, the Daily Mail did like a big puff piece about a first day in the 49ers, and we found out that, you know, the IT person was also the groundsman and all that. If you can remember that piece, they did that as well. So yeah, they do have a bit of history with that. And then obviously they've ran the story today that potentially Leeds United could be looking at other options based on Farke's previous record in the Prem and maybe looking to move him on. We don't know how, if it's true, it might be BS. Do you know what I mean? I think the only thing that I think it's the reason it's got a little bit of legs, like I don't want them to sack him on straight out of the gate, but is the no comment stuff. For me, they could have easily distanced themselves from the piece and said, not a chance is he getting sacked, we're here to win the title. It just was a bit like no comment. That, for me, was a little bit strange. That's just my opinion on it. But let's get the lads, and then we'll get some comments in as well. Jack, what was your thoughts on the piece and, you know, Leeds' lack of discussion around it? Just the no comment stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a non-story. It's a non-starter. So I think it's both true and totally untrue. So I think the reason why Farke, I think they're all adults and we'll be having constant conversations. And if Farke's not inspiring their movement forward, they will be looking elsewhere. I've been actually saying for months on my channel, for anybody that listened, they're looking at managers already. Even before we had the wobble, they're constantly on the look. They're not gonna say to Farke, I don't believe you are 100% in the door. It's like they don't want any standards being dropped. I just think it's a non-story. So I think even though the story might very well be true, it was true 4 months ago. It's not just become true. It's what's happened is we've gone up and then they've dropped the article and we've all gone, oh my God, they waited for Farke to get him up and now they're pushing him out the door. Like they didn't have to wait for that. Do you know what I mean? It coincides too well together. Also, I don't think 49ers need to play the game and sort of suggest that we need to know any of this stuff. They've been top secret about stuff as it is. They're not going to do it 2 games before end of season. And on the no comment thing, I just don't think they have to show the hand. I think they'll be talking to Farke a lot. I think they probably are talking to other managers. And if somebody else pops up that they cannot say no to, it's big boy stuff now, isn't it? We're in Prem. It really is big boy stuff. Every player's up for sale, depending on price. Every player's replaceable. If somebody better than Tanaka is available, they're going to take them and then they'll do whatever they want with Tanaka. You know, this is where we're at right now. 49ers aren't going to mess around. I personally think they're going to back him. I've heard that he's actually organised the pre-season, the games away and stuff, wherever they've gone to play Man U and stuff. Apparently, he's involved in that. So I just, I mean, that's meaningless in terms of pre-season, but I don't know why they'd let him sort that out if that is to be true. But I just think it's a non-story, even though there's validity to the story. I just don't think it exists in real life. I think it's been the case for months.
You make a great point there, innit? It's not as if as soon as we got announced, right, everyone get checking for managers. They'll have been doing. Yeah, I get your point where you say that.
They've been looking all season, and then when we did have a wobble, they'll have been all over it. So they're just not willing to rule out the fact that they're not. But they're not ruling out. They're just saying, look, I don't need to discuss this. It's a discussion amongst adults within the club. Farke will be involved in it. That's why Farke's maybe potentially said a few things about signings and stuff. You don't know what conversations, you don't know what vibe he's picking up. You don't know the relationship. Farke won't be babysat either. He's not just sat there sat on his hands, waiting for the big bad 49ers to make a decision on him. It's all, it's adult stuff now, isn't it? It's serious money, serious league that we're off into. I personally, if we're just on about my personal preference, obviously want Farke to have the opportunity to go at it. I think he deserves it and he's earned it. That being said, if Guardiola's available or something, and we're on about investing 300 million and getting some of the best wing backs in the world, obviously, thank you very much, Farke. But, there's a man about town, isn't there? So I just think it's a non-story, even though there's something.
And I guess as well, like more to your point, let's say Mike Keegan's been waiting to drop this story. When's the best time to drop the story?
That's what I'm saying.
Today, after the promotion stuff has settled, right? Bang.
Nobody that spoke about this 2 months ago. It wouldn't have been like this, and then it's blown up on the basis that it's like, what a time to drop this. This article's been sat there for months, and particularly when we had a wobble. Because if we hadn't gone up this season, it'd have got, like now, it'd have got dropped as well, saying the 49ers are happy, Leeds are sat in third. And they're just there to kick a stir up because it is true to some extent. I just don't think it means the end of Farke right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Luke, come on, give us your take on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I think it's been put out today to actually make the news, because I don't, like, as you rightly say, we're not gonna be clicking on Daily Mail links a month ago when or 2 months ago. And I think if the club aren't looking at replacements for Daniel Farke, then they're doing something wrong. Why wouldn't they be looking for a replacement if things don't go right? And look, we went through that little bit of a rough patch. I don't for one second believe that he would have been sacked at that stage of the season. But had we not been promoted automatically, I think he would have been sacked. I think he would.
100%, yeah.
Even if he'd got us up through the playoffs, I would argue he probably might have been sacked. I mean, we would have looked at a replacement, because ultimately, I think he's been put in here to do a job. He's now done that job, and he was given a 4-year contract, I think, till 2028.
2028.
So 4 or 5 years. So he's still got a few years left on that contract. There's no way a club would have a 5-year plan and then decide, not even halfway through it, that actually, we've got to where we wanted to be in 2 years. We'll just sack him off now. I just don't believe it. I think there's a lot to be said as well for the no comment stuff around who's at the club internally at the moment, because usually they would go to Angus Kinnear for that news. Now Angus Kinnear is not going to know what the 49ers know, because Angus Kinnear's fucking off to Everton in a couple of months. There's no way on earth they're going to tell him any plans. So the no comment stuff naturally is going to come because there's nobody to make a comment unless Parag's about, or they've got a link to Parag. But that's not their main priority. What they're going to say? Yes, we're going to back him for the rest of his life. No, and what's the other alternative? Yeah, we are looking at alternatives. Of course, they're looking at alternatives for 3 months into next season or 2 months into next season. I just think it is absolute clickbait there. So we're having a conversation about it tonight, Joe, because we wouldn't be here tonight. We wouldn't be talking about it, would we? If
definitely not. No.
And I think they've left it until now, because it's probably at its highest impact point. If we go on and win the league, even, it's probably a higher impact point now, because we've got 2 games left. And people,
of course,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolute non-starter. The no comment stuff doesn't bother me as much, and I know Andrea's not here to explain, but he went into a lot of detail in our group chat earlier as to why it bothered him, and it's the American way.
It does bother me as well. I won't lie, it does bother me.
it puts a question mark there, Joe. But I think if we knew who was going to be filling Angus Kinnear's shoes next season, and they was already in post, then we might have got a comment. I think we might have done. I think we said, look, it would have been quite easy for the club just to say, we're fully backing. We've got a job to do. We've got 2 more games. We've got to win this league. That's first and foremost. Then we'll come to you with a comment, because it just doesn't make sense. And that's the reason why it's been triggered now, because you've got your Evening Post reporters and that all going to the club now, and it's taken over Twitter, taken over Facebook today. Everywhere you look, it's taken over the Leeds United news. It's almost like the promotion didn't happen at the weekend. You know what I mean?
True.
It's mad. It's mad. And then you've got the idiots, the online idiots that are get Farke out, and not just online idiots. There seems to be a few in this chat as well. That they can't give a man his due for the work he has actually put in, because he said now that he wanted players in January. He's openly said that that's out the open. Now he's done that. You look at Burnley's squad; they have got a bigger, more valuable squad than us. Whether they've got better players or not is down to opinion. Now he's openly said that he wanted better players. So has he done a better job therefore than Scott Parker? I believe so.
Well, it's an interesting debate. It is an interesting debate. And look, I still bang that drum that we should have signed players in January, but they got away with it. It is what it is. They did get away with it. So we're all in agreement. I think for me, and I get football's ruthless, and if a decision was made and the manager came in, as soon as they start, winning games of football, then for me, all's forgotten. But I think it almost... One creator got over 2 hours out of this story. Fucking hell. But quality. I think it's morally wrong. And I know football doesn't have morals, but as a fan of my football club, I don't...
It depends.
I don't think it's right to sack him.
It depends, though, doesn't it? This is kind of what I'm saying. That's why I enjoyed the no comment. There's no need for him to say, if you say 100% anything, you're either lying to me or, because we don't know what will happen to end of season. They will sit down with Farke and they will want to know what his plan is, won't they? They'll have been in communication all year. Nothing is 100% anymore, is it? It just isn't. And if you say, oh, yeah, 100%, yeah, then we end up in some sort of a rad scenario, don't we, where you just think he's never going to sack it, and then we hung on too long, and then we hung on to Marsh too long, and it ends up just turning into chaos. Whereas at least I feel like we go, well, I'm not 100% sure. Farke, right, is battling for his job. He's going to get sacked at some point at this club.
Yeah, of course.
So you might as well have a big boy conversation towards the end of the season and go, what are you up to in pre-season, and what do you want to do next season in Prem? What is, because we're talking to other people, what is your plan? And then you go, right, Danny boy, as people call him, which, if they said it in a nice way, I'd be up for it, but they don't mean it derogatory. But my man, Danny, what is the plan? If it's inspiring or if it's not as good as someone else, it's just a job interview. You might as well have a job interview, because every year, he's about 10 games away from getting sacked anyway. So just do it. Just be honest about the whole thing.
Look what Forest did with Cooper. They said they were backing him and then sacked him a few weeks later.
Yeah, and he probably
how stupid that make him look.
It's like managers get sacked. At least they're being honest to some extent and just saying, well, no, we're going to stay out of this, and because we don't know what's going to be said in it. Because if Farke comes up with this ludicrous plan, and he wants 250 million spent, and they go, well, we planned on getting these 4 players and 125 million spent. So I'm just making stuff up. But yeah, Farke says, well, I can't do it on that. They have to go, oh, hang on a minute. We told the whole fan base Farke is 100% at the club next season, and his plan is not our plan. He's changed his mind, or he's been a bit of a knob for past 2 games for no reason. He's got on his high horse because he's got promoted and I'm not keen on him anymore. There's so many variables, isn't there? He's constantly battling for his job. And I don't think Farke's a problem, by the way. I'm not saying that, but you just don't know. They're not, it's just business, innit? And it's a shame. I agree with you, it's morally wrong, Joe, but I think it's morally wrong to lie to us as well. So I'd rather him just stay out of it. And then when the decision's made, tell us, just be honest about it. Don't appease me. Don't say, rad style with, oh, don't worry, I'm going to sort this. And you can't sort it. It's unsortable. It's just don't lie.
Yeah. It would be wild if we went on and won the title and he was given the sack. And you could say it would be ruthless and football's cutthroat and all that sort of stuff. And I get that and I understand it, people. But in my opinion, man, how can a guy do what he's done, 2 90-point seasons? I mean, I just think it'd be wild to give him the heave, or unless, of course, you know, there's someone there that like Jack was saying it earlier. Yeah, I don't know. And do you know what as well? Like this, right, and we'll get into specifics about Premier League level, but I don't know where this discourse around Gladbach comes from, because he finished 10th.
And Norwich even, because he wasn't backed. He had £7 million. Exactly. Stupid to spend.
But do you know on the Gladbach stuff, Luke? Yeah. He finished 10th. The season before finished 8th. The seasons after finished 10th, 14th, and are now in 9th.
They finished 10th the season before. They finished 10th with the season with him at the helm, and then 14th the following 14th. Season.
Then now they're currently in 9th with 4 to go. There seems to be this discourse because people listen to what people say and sometimes don't do their own fucking research and think, do you know what? Is that actually true? What's being said there? Oh, because and it's like, well, Gladbach actually wasn't unsuccessful for Farke, really. Do you know what I mean?
Not that good. So, anyway, ever.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
Manager's gone elsewhere, a strong league that gone elsewhere and failed a lot more significantly than he did over there. And I'm no analyst on that myself. You know, I don't know. I didn't watch the games. I barely knew who we were at the time. But obviously, all the stats come up, and you do have a look. Did all right. I'm not saying the bloke's even a world beater, but Mönchengladbach, I don't know how much they get backed, but I can't imagine them attracting many players. It's the same thing. It's like, you know, they're not. I know they've been decent at times. They've been in Champions League now and again and stuff. But you know, what were you expecting them to do? Go and win the league with him?
Yeah,
because if they'd have won the league with him, he wouldn't have been in the Championship, would he? He'd be on to pastures new, up, wouldn't he? Yeah. So he's come to level it out where he is. That's exactly where he's at. And now he's at a big club. He's going to get backed, hopefully, and we'll see if he's good enough.
Yeah. He had some memorable wins while he was at Gladbach as well. He beat Bayern Munich and Dortmund that season.
Yeah, there you go. But
so if we go up into the Premier League and we beat Scum and Liverpool, we'd be buzzing with that, wouldn't we? Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
That's sort of what you're looking at. But yeah, there seems to be that narrative, Joe, online that people think he did rubbish with Norwich. We got, you know.
Mm. Now let's speak on Norwich. They were shite, right? I remember them being shite. I remember Suarez used to score 4. I think he scored 4 in them in 2 games that season. That Liverpool team, they were shite, right? They lost 15 games. You know, no one's here. Because I can see the people in the comments, not any of us here are defending that run and going, well, what we're saying is you have to apply context. And the context is, and Farke said this himself, which I think is massive when you actually think about it, is if Leeds United got promoted, right, and we got relegated next season, teams would come for our players. We didn't get promoted last season and lost Somerville, Rutter and Gray from our side. The point is, and Farke made this, and I think it's so true. Yeah, they were bad. Yeah, he wasn't backed. But that squad that he did have, only Buendia went and continued to play at the top level. Only Buendia. That shows how bad the squad. No one, when they went down, was said, oh, well, we'll take Pookie, we'll take Cantwell. Oh, sorry, and Max Aarons. Max Aarons, who actually was in Championship before he got transferred to Bournemouth. Now he can't get a game at Bournemouth and he's on loan in Spain. So apart from them two, there was nobody. You know, they had Ben Gibson, for example, who actually played for Stoke at the weekends. Grant Hanley, who I think is still fucking there. They were not cut out for the Premier League. Whereas if you look at our side when we go up, if we go out, people will come for our players. Do you know what I mean? They would take them. So I think the context is, yes, his Norwich team was shite, but there was no money spent because they're not a big enough club, really. You know, that's them. And they had Delia Smith fucking running the joint. And the players that he went up with were not really at that level and proved that after the fact, bar one, Buendia. Everyone else. Yeah, Ben Godfrey, who went to Everton and again failed there, and he's now on loan in Italy, and I don't think he's playing in Italy either. So They're the only ones, really.
Ask Norwich fans what they think of him.
Yeah, fair. But it's right though what I'm saying on the Norwich chat.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
He wasn't backed. He didn't. He was given. I forget the exact figure, but it was less than 10 million quid over the two revisits he had to the Premier League, and that is pittance, and that's setting him up to fail. That is pretty much setting him up to fail.
Yeah. And I thought the narrative was it's impossible to stay up anyway.
What they think of him. Well, yeah, if you actually did your research and you actually did have a read of it, they said that they would run through fire for him at one stage. They went on the best run, the best start in the league for years. I think they lost once in their first 7 games. Yes, it didn't end great, but I'm telling you now that this narrative that Gladbach fans wanted rid of him is bollocks.
It's this Leeds thing though, unfortunately, and this is where it frustrates me because I do think it's a minority, but they're just viewing Farke's prior work now, and we're over analysing his as though it means anything. Because, for instance, if people want Mourinho's arguably one of the biggest managers that's ever lived in my lifetime, you won't want him on the basis that he's washed up. So we can look at Mourinho's past few years and think, yeah, he has not hit the heights that he once did 10 years ago. So why can't you form, like I've been saying all season about Leeds, why can't you flip reverse the other way? And Farke has gone through all this huge learning process, doing relatively well in winning stuff, winning championships, doing decent in Bundesliga. And then now it's his turn. And I'm not saying Farke takes over, but Farke can get us 12th in league. I truly believe that. I think if we invest well, he's not a mug. He'll get the job done to some extent. We'll see how high up he can take us. But I think a guy like Farke, who's really calm, who won't wobble, won't boil, people like that at a club like we are, a big club, I think can set the foundation for us to move on, to move up, and then get someone big in where you just think Farke has been a revelation. He's cemented us in the Prem for 2 seasons. And he won't be aiming for 17th. He'll want to do really, really well next year. He's not just wanting survival. He'll want to be 10th in league. He'll want to be top 10. I mean, we're not going to get top 10. It's extremely difficult, but crazier things have happened. I don't understand it. And other managers can go on barren, horrendous, horrific runs with really good teams, and everybody goes, "Oh no, but it's different because he's decent. Oh, I like him because you haven't watched him every week. All we've watched of Farke. If I don't know any previous knowledge of Farke, I'd give every penny 49ers had to him because he's been amazing for us. But you're looking at Norwich in the Premier League, like Norwich have ever been successful in the Premier League under anybody ever, and then blaming Farke for it. It's ridiculous. Like it's just Farke. Like, oh yeah, we're great in champion. They weren't even a good championship side, and they did unbelievably well. They beat Bielsa to it. They were awesome. So it's just does me head in. It does me head in.
He's gone off on one there, and he's definitely gone off on one. Obviously, if we were to right, we've just spoke there on his Premier League record. I think he got 21 points first season, finishing bottom, and then was sacked after 11 games and just 5 points in the second season after he went down one championship, gone again. 15 consecutive losses across the seasons it was, which isn't great. But if Luke, we were to replace him, who are you looking at? You're looking at someone who has experience in Premier League survival. We're talking about the Stevie Coopers. You're talking about Sean Dyche's, even people like this are names that would get mentioned. Or you then go out of the box like Bournemouth did, for example, with Iriola. And someone who's tactically adaptable, has loads of different ideas, but it is a big risk in it. It's a massive risk. If we were to, I mean, you could argue it's a risk either way, but for me, it's like better the devil you know. I'd rather go up with someone who's been here than
Yeah, you've got to look at the squad that we're going to keep, hopefully all together in the majority, because there's not a chance we're going to revamp a full squad. So that squad's got respect for him. They've done this part together. There will be new players coming in, obviously. But yeah, it is probably better the devil you know. Look, if you can attract, as Jack said earlier, a household name, but I don't think Pep Guardiola would be very good with a low level squad. I think you look at the squads he has managed, and they've all been elite footballers, haven't they? You know, Bayern, Barca, and City. You know, he's always had an elite squad to play with, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's dragged Havant and Waterloo up from the Southern Conference into the Premier League or anything like that. So yeah, I think you're going to be chancing your arm with any sort of replacement. You know, if you bring in somebody like the names you mentioned there, we're going to be playing an absolute shite brand of football all season. The fans, that isn't Leeds United. You know, we're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And some people will argue that's what we've seen this season. Well, tell that to the 80 odd goals that we've scored and only the 20 odd that we've conceded. Do you know what I mean? The proof's in the pudding. The data's there in front of people. If they don't want to believe it, that's entirely up to them. But for me, the best option going forward is back Daniel Farke, give him some money, see what he can do with it, and then go from there. If it's not the right option, and we are struggling come Christmas time, then we'll revisit it. I'm sure the 49ers will be cutthroat and probably will look at replacements. But to do it now, for me, it's mad that we're even having a conversation about it. Honestly,
no, I hear you. I do. Is there a benefit though, Jack, in terms of if you were to sack him before the season? Let's say they go with that. It allows time for a new manager to implement their system during pre-season, bring in the players that they want. Is if you're going to do it, is this the right time to do it? I guess.
No comment. I think if they're not kind of on the no comment, if they don't fancy it, I'd rather them just get on with it. Yeah. You know, and just be like, this is what it is. It's our decision and go for it. Because there's literally no point in dipping your toe in, putting a little bit of money, thinking, we really want bloke out of here, you know what I mean? And then messing about and then getting 10 games in and going, this is what we thought, we've ended up being right. It's if the relationship's done, you know, I know they're not married to each other, but him and Parag, but if it is on the way in or on the way out, or like say if they're not inspired by Farke's plan.
I'm part of WhatsApp groups and stuff, and obviously not to directly mention anyone, but there's a bit of a discourse that maybe in January things did get a little bit tetchy between ownership and manager, and Farke Farke wanted specifics, and they gave him this, and he said, "No, I don't want that. I want that." Do you know what I mean? So, and naturally, if you work with someone all the time, there's going to be tension. Then he said what he said about January to Sky as well. So maybe there is, but there always is going to be a breakdown. It's never going to be perfect, is it? Surely not.
No, not if you're actually. This is what I'm saying. They don't need babysitting. They're both trying to gain as much power as they can, can't they? And ultimately, Farke knows he's at a dead end all the time. That's what management is now. There's no honest. There is honest conversation. I actually think 49ers will be relatively honest about the whole thing. I think it'll be sat down meeting, like calling a meeting style and having a chat about it. And literally, you're constantly getting interviewed for your job. Don't say the wrong things in press conferences. Don't frustrate. He's like a CEO of the company, isn't he, in a sense. It's like you're representing us. You know, there's things he can't say when he slipped up, how much they'd made, money they'd made. Where's he got that from? That's somebody telling him that you don't mention how much money we've made this, you know, in the transfer window and stuff. I don't want it becoming a narrative or a topic across the news and stuff. It just is what it is. And if he don't like it, Farke will start putting his back up to it. He's not just going to take it. And so he might be as, even though I don't think any of this is true, to be honest, like fully true, he might be just as responsible for it. He might want it that way and go, if you're not going to do what I want, I'm not staying here for 10 games. I'm not on a 10-game probation. You either back me all the way or I'm not doing it. I think they're having grown-up conversations. I don't get why everybody's not thinking that is just is what it is. And on the Sean Dyche thing and that, they still go down anyway. I know he's saved a few, whatever, but behave. It's like, you know, so drag them goons in. And just like, oh well, go on then. Let's watch this and then still go down. Or survive in 17th and then think, oh, where do we go now? Or stick with Sean Dyche and then go down year after. It's like, what a couple of years that was for us. I don't know. Farke just needs some money, needs backing, needs some proper decent players. you cannot tell me he can't do a decent job. I've watched 2 years of his football. It's decent. It's proper decent football. And he knows the job at hand. He's been in the Premier League with a poor side. He knows what didn't work, what does work, what he can get out of these players. He knows the group of players. I just think, on personal level, I just think you have to back him unless somebody crazy comes in. Because I know I joked about Guardiola, Luke, but you'd have to also take that, even the 49, just money-wise.
Yeah,
you'd have to go, oh, I don't know why he fancies this project, but he does. And then they'd probably find some more money and then.
But even if it's not Guardiola, Jack, I know where you're coming from. That sort of elite sort of manager that's got, somebody of that ilk. Not. I mean, we're never going to attract him. I mean, we're speaking completely hypothetically. So if you're taking it at face value, then you probably need to open your mind ever so slightly. But I completely understand and appreciate where you're coming from. Unless we could attract somebody, that's been in one leagues, even abroad, that's the sort of level that we're going to have to get to improve on Daniel Farke for me. I think you look at what he's done, and look, we have got a good squad, but there's nothing to say we can't have a good squad next season in the Premier League, and it's going to be a completely different style. But to not even give him that opportunity and that chance, and the very fact that we're having a conversation now about replacing him after potentially winning the league. Who would have thought that we'd have done that under Marcelo Bielsa? Could you imagine having this conversation after Marcelo got us promoted?
I know, yeah, exactly. It's so true. If Bielsa doesn't happen, Farke is lauded as one of our greatest managers ever. 100%.
It's only because he got sacked that we're more than well aware that Farke's on the chopping board relentlessly. Because if Bielsa anybody can go at this club.
That is so true.
Has Farke been successful overall in his career? Because there's plenty of people always want him. He's always in a job.
Bro, he's had 5 promotions, 5.
That's serious success, though, isn't it? 6, regardless of what you think of it, and regardless whether he failed in the Premier League twice. Loads of managers. Name me a manager that hasn't failed somewhere. They've all failed.
Pep.
Well, you could argue
he's failed this year, arguably, though, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, if that's a failure, that's a Guardiola failure. But I mean, you could argue he failed in Bayern Munich. They got him there to win Champions League. They always win the league. They don't
need won treble the year before.
They don't need Guardiola to come and win Bundesliga, do they? They all win Bundesliga.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. And do you know what as well, Luke? Look, he is only 48. There's a potential, right? When Farke first came over to Norwich and he'd gone up, since then, he's gone to Germany. He's done, this will be his 3rd season at Leeds United. He's definitely different to how he was at Norwich. There is the potential that he has learned. Well, obviously he's learned. We're all learning, right? So we might see a totally different Daniel Farke when he gets to the Premier League. We have to take that into consideration as well, man.
I think so. I think a lot of people are holding on to the failures joke within the season. I think things like not changing Meslier too early, but that contrasted with how well we have actually done. When you look at the numbers and the amount of goals we've scored, and arguably, had he changed Meslier early, we'd have already had this league won and would have conceded less goals than potentially Burnley. So it's fine margins, and I think people cling on to those individual decisions, not playing Ramazani enough, things like that. But yet we're still arguably going to potentially win this league, and we're already promoted with 2 games to go. So. What do people want? Those people that I don't understand what people want. For those people who are 100% Farke out, and that's because they've made their mind up about him a long time ago for me, Joe, and it's not something that's just new. They just simply don't like the guy.
Yeah, there's something about him they don't like, and it's not just the football games that they don't like. It can't be because he's won too many games. It can't be the football.
Apparently, Farke can't attract Premier level players either.
Where do you even get that from? Where's that come from? Who said that?
Wouldn't the Premier League attract Premier League players? I mean,
the Premier League money attracts Premier League players.
It's funny, isn't it? Because Joe Rodon chose to come back to the Championship under this manager than go to the Prem.
Because he'd be sat in some shit in the Prem for one season and it'd ruin his career, wouldn't it? Whereas he's gone, no, this is a really well-run club. Farke's a really good manager. I think we just missed out because of the crazy stats.
Would you argue Tanaka's already a Premier League player?
Well, I think he's come to the right club to be one. I think they've all bought. I think Farke's part of what they've bought into. Ampadu's not strutting round and loving his life just on the basis that he's the man, is he? He'll really like Farke. He seems to have full control over him to me.
Yeah.
Look at those celebrations. Do you see one player that didn't look happy to be winning promotion?
Exactly.
Is there any player there? Even Melier, even Ramazani, who's not been given a sniff, was leading those celebrations. That does not look like a squad with any disjointment or even anything close to. I think I really like the guy, and look, and it's probably going to come across a real sort of one-sided bias between us three. But I would say that's because we're quite open-minded. You know, if he was shit, we'd recognise that. Has he made mistakes? Absolutely. But has he learned from those mistakes? You look at last year compared to this year, and the type of football that we've played, the substitutions he's made, all those things are things that he'd improved on from last season for me. You know, the recruitment this season, we were just so much better balanced in terms of we had 2 players that could play in every position, almost arguably other than the 10 last season. We probably didn't have that. So, what's to say that? Go on, sorry.
Which again, and I get it, and people are saying, "Oh, it's ruthless and all that." How many of us, when players leave, go absolutely insane? You know, I know these people that don't want. I went for the money. Archie Gray, fuck him. He's a Celtic fan. All this bullshit that we come out with. Yet, when some propose with booting the manager after a record-breaking season, we're all like, "Yeah, ruthless, aren't we? Messi." And that's why I'm a bit like, can you have it both ways? I know there's no morals in footballs, but next time someone leaves, don't bitch and moan about it then and just say, "Go on then, see you later." Because that's where we're at. I think for me, I know it's football and all that, but I am an emotional fan. I get that. I just want my, I get a passion merchant, whatever. I just want my football club to look. Bielsa changed football. The reason we fell in love with him, he was like fucking, I don't know, like the Che Guevara of football. You know what I mean? It was bigger than just fucking football matches. And then, a couple of seasons later, after dealing with fucking clowns like Jesse Marsh, we're ready to go after a record-breaking season. Yes, sack this guy off. It just don't sit right for me. Like you say, easy teasy, sentiment, FC, ole, ole, but I'll take it. Because I stood by this manager this season, and guess what? We got fucking promoted, yeah? I said, don't sack Bielsa. Guess what? We shouldn't have fucking sacked him. I said, get rid of this clown, this American, moonlighting as a football coach. Guess what? We should have fucking sacked him. They said, don't get rid of Bill Ayling and all that. So, League One. That season, he got the most open play assists in the second half of the championship. Liam Cooper, you know what I seen in my comments when we were going through this run? If we'd have had someone like Liam Cooper about, people have short memories. They want to be quick, bam, bam, get rid. Just need to relax, man. It's not FIFA, and it's not Football Manager. That's what it boils down to, man.
Football Manager won't let you do that. Football Manager is far too advanced now. You could have got away with that on 1992 edition, but that it don't work.
It was Champ Manager then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, to be fair, apologies. That were in the real days when you could actually win stuff on it, and now it's like impossible. But I agree, Joe. It's like people are just so, and then you become like a warlord for the old guard, don't you? Rather than just saying, well, I just think until can Ayling could he have done I mean, I hate mentioning it now because they think I'm still on about today. Like I still want Ayling here, going up to Prem with us, like get him right back and get him back in. Like no, like there's a time and a place for him to move on, but there's a time when you need people like Liam Cooper. There just is. It was. I mean, don't get me started about Cooper, but yeah,
it's bang on. It is bang
on. Listen, Joe. It might happen. It might happen. We're here defending and giving our reasons as to why we don't think it should happen. But stranger things in football have happened. I don't think it's ever happened before where a manager has been promoted from the championship and they're starting before a season started. But that's not to say it won't happen. But I don't think it should. I think it's probably, and I think it would be absolute chaos if it did.
I don't think it's a sacking. That's the thing. And because I saw this thing, I'm not sure if it were on your live earlier, Joe, or where I saw it on Twitter, but like a mutual consent thing. I disagree with that as well because Farke will dig his heels in and say, no, you're sacking me, mate. But I think in terms of the
exactly.
mutual consent,
Consent,
if you sort of get what I mean with the mutual consent, where Farke's like, well, I can't do this. You know, if it's fractured, he'll get the sack, but Farke will have also sacked himself. Do you know what I mean? I honestly think that's the only way it goes, unless he's on a mad one and, you know, done.
The thing is with Farke, and this is what I like about him, he says, I'm the manager, and if you don't like it, I'm going to challenge you because I'm running this ship. I'm the boss here. The players know it, and he won't have his authority challenged. He won't. We saw it request, whether you like it or not, we saw it with Creswell. See you later, mate, yeah? Whether that's the right decision or not, we saw it with Campbell, we saw it with Buendia when he was at Norwich. We saw it, you could argue, with Ramazani. Something went off there where he was like, boom, right, you're sitting on the bench, mate. It is what it is. And Ramazani tweeted and that, and we still haven't seen him get any minutes, by the way. So you won't, and for me, that's how the best managers are. You won't win. You won't win. You know, look at, I know it's totally mad, but look at Pep. Look at Pep. And I'm not, but he will not be challenged whatsoever. See you later. Look at Arteta at Arsenal, Aubameyang, captain. Bye. See you later. The best managers do not allow their authority to be challenged, because if they did, then what? Then what? Do you know what I mean? So, yes, there may have been a breakdown in January, but Farke, like you said, he ain't going to accept no mutual termination. He'll go, I told you I'm the manager. If you don't like this, sack me, and you'll pay off the 3 years of my contract, and I'll go get a job elsewhere. There's no way he goes, yeah, thank you, 49.
Why would he want to do that? Why would he put all this work in and then go, oh, yeah, it's been brilliant?
Yeah.
You know what? As well, I think if that was to happen, I think there'd be a relatively large portion of the fan base that might rebel against that. You know, because we're almost taking him for granted. You know, people are sat here now with a sense of entitlement that we should have been promoted. I could have got us. Luke off OKB could have got that team promoted. That's bollocks. Nobody. You know what I mean? He has done a fucking good job, and we owe him. We owe him the respect he deserves. I believe, and I think there's this sense of entitlement that's crept in over the last few years into the fan base that we're Leeds United, we're the big dogs, we get promoted, we've got the best team. That's how it works. Anybody who's watched football for any longer than a few years, pre-Bielsa even, knows that. Even when Bielsa was here, knows that isn't how football works. And we just need to, you know, take a bit of a deep breath and just come back down to earth and appreciate what's happening right now in terms of promotion and where we're going.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree with you, mate. It's mad. And the thing is, if they make a decision, right, let's say they do, and it goes wrong, they'll be battered for it. They'll be It's so risky. And people will, of course, say, will say, well, it's a risk also. Yeah, of course, but that's what I'm saying. But if you make a decision like that, which is so out there, then it has to go right. Because if it goes wrong on fan channels, in the ground, they'll all be going, they fucking sacked him. Why have they done? Do you know what I mean? And because if he gets sacked, he'll get a championship job like that, 100%.
And also, Joe, what's going right? Because I'd have some reservations where if they have a good window and we finish 12th, which I think we can actually achieve if we do right in summer with Farke, 12th to 14th is where I'm hoping we're aiming towards. Is that then right if somebody new comes in and does it? Because if this guy's coming in to go, where's he to take us? Where we're looking at in the league then?
Yeah, of course.
If we just survive at 17th, did they get it right? Because I don't think they got that right. Because I can say, no, I think Farke would have done a pretty decent job at that. If we're just on about survival, if we're saying, oh, this gadget comes in and gets us into Europe next year, you bite his hand off and go, well, they said Europe, that's the standard. I don't know if Farke could do that. Do you know what I mean? So I can play a game with them all year next. I mean, not that they care about what I think, but you know, like everybody spills their nonsense out on Twitter and on YouTube and whatever. So we can all do the same thing, can't we? And go, well, no, this guy's not doing well. He's just doing what we expected Farke to do.
Yeah, yeah.
The mad thing is,
when everyone who's wanting him sacked was saying he's done, he's won 4 games on spin for the first time this season. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. It's mad. Boys, as well, before we finish up, obviously, it's bad that it's shit that we got this news, but obviously we've heard the parade's going to be Monday the 5th, which we're all going to be excited and hopefully all gonna meet up. We've heard now that the council have give notification to the club to start building on the surrounding areas and obviously improving the stadium. So that's been done. And also now 49ers Enterprises / Leeds United have taken over Rangers as well, or are in the process, right? We know Nick Hammond's leaving as well. That was confirmed. So it's been quite a big news day, actually. But I did read earlier on somewhere that actually Nick Hammond stepped back for quite some time. He's still been there, but he hasn't been.
He was only a consultant, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't actually massively involved anyway. So, what's your... I know there's a lot of stories there, boys, but excited for the 5th and obviously the stadium. Do you worry that the Rangers stuff will have an impact at all? Or, it shouldn't do, should it?
Well, no, it means we've got a feeder club in Scotland, doesn't it?
Don't think they'll see it like that, bro.
Look, it's all positive from, as far as I can see. You know, the 49ers have dipped the toe, and the clubs that they're approaching are big clubs in the UK. So, going into the Rangers stuff, the fact that the stadium's going to be extended and expanded can only be a good thing, I think. And they've already released that they're going to keep the modern, the modern feel to it. The old-fashioned feel to it with a modern take, and they're going to look at acoustics to ensure that the atmosphere isn't sucked out of there. And we're going to be playing in the Premier League next year. What's not to look forward to? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, fair. Any thoughts on all that, Jack?
Well, just like we were saying, I think it was me and you, Joe. It might have been all of us. I can't remember. Sometimes I forget what we've said on WhatsApp and what I've said to you live and whatever we spoke about. We talk too much, is my point. But they've got a month more, haven't they? So they can start to announce these. They can get on with it and just be, because this stuff you don't really want to be lingering on announcing that when we're all looking for signings. Because my man Joe will be going wild if you waiting for a signing and they're announcing something with stadium, it'd blow up. So it's just good that they're just sort of and like consultant. I mean, I'm not 100% certain what that job role is, but there happens a lot, this, doesn't it? There's always boardroom move-ins, and they move them about, and they're all planned to go. They're off to go do pastures new or whatever. It's going to be a mint summer, and I do think it'll be Farke at the helm. So, yeah,
I agree. We have had we've got some super chats, so let's have a read through. Fire some of these at you. Farke deserves to be back, and the 49ers will do that. And remember, Red Bull are valued at around about 20 billion. We need at least 7 to 8 top signings. We ain't fucking Norwich. Go on,
just on that, Joe.
Go on, mate.
The fact that we haven't done any business in January means we're in a better position financially to actually spend a bit more in the summer as well.
Yeah, I was going to mention that actually because I know people said, "Oh, Joe," someone said, "Oh, Joe, that's why they didn't spend in January. It's obvious." But now I've just read that same person saying the reason they didn't spend in January is because they were never going to back him anyway. So that's why. So it's like, well, which is it? I thought you knew. Fake Farke news. FFS Baseline Bible says, I don't think he will get sacked. Moving on, a question to all. Could you pick a team of players out of the Championship that would be able to compete in the Premiership and stay there? It's a good point. It is a good point, Baseline Bible. Actually, the second tier lads say this. Would you... Oh, no, sorry. It was a different podcast. But they said, if you made a team out of the 3 relegated teams, would they be able to compete in the Premier League? And they were all like, no, probably not. So... difficult. It's a massive step up. We need to recruit well. And we're going to be in a relegation battle under no illusions. So it is what it is. Just got to pull some more. You're not having it, Jack? No,
man. No, I'm not going up with an inferior. When we had Bielsa, my man, where did you reckon? Were you saying?
No, I didn't. No, I did not.
I'm not going up as inferior again. It worked the first time, and it's going to work this time. I'm not going up with an inferiority complex. I'm just not doing it. I'm going to go and enjoy as much of it as I physically can. And then if shit goes, if shit is as shit does, I'll deal with it when it gets there and be like, yes, this is a relegation battle. And I'll just have to accept it. But right now, 2 games to go. We're on for 100 points. My man Farke, get some decent business in like 49ers have been able to do for past year. Get it done. I'm not going up as an inferior club. I'm just not. We're off to go take over.
We're going to Europe, yeah? Europe.
Yes.
Here we come. Love that. Luke M says, maybe a clear out, Kinnear and Hammond out. Red Bull brings their peeps in. Farke, not Red Bull, man, either. Maybe. What from Germany? Go get Julian Nagelsmann, yeah? Come on, bring him over. Red Bull aren't running this joint, by the way. Red Bull, they're not like it. Their influence is next to nothing, genuinely. Like what? We got, it'll be the difference between buying and selling a player. Then they must have totally forgot, right, that they even mentioned that. Because when they then sold Rutter, they put in the press release, we were able to get X amount because of the Red Bull money. And I was like, well, it was a release clause. What you're on about? Honestly, it's bullshit. There we go. Sean says maybe they didn't want to back him because they knew he was a shit manager, but they didn't want to sack him because it looks bad, as opposed to sacking him when you've won the league, which don't look bad. And Sean, you told me the reason they didn't back him in January was because they were saving the money for summer. So which one was it, pal?
The only thing that looks bad is that comment.
I love that. To be fair, Jack, all you can go by is your work history. I love Farke and hope he gets a chance, but let's not act like he's been successful out of the Champo. Respond, mate.
Well, I've done enough at past 50 minutes.
He's put it on your toes and you can't respond live. Is that what you're telling me?
No, of course I can. Bring it, Barney. No, but he's not been good in Premier League. No, but my point is he's been as successful as every other manager in different leagues. And
he's been our most successful manager. Or in terms of points, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It took Bielsa 2 years for us to get up. We went with Bielsa as well. You know, I don't care about the squad, whatever. We're on for 100 points. I don't know what more the man can do other than, and like I said earlier, you know, Mourinho's collapsed, his career's allegedly collapsed, and people wouldn't have him at the club. That's going all around Twitter saying it's dinosaur football. And he can't flip reverse it. But Farke can have his troubles in the Premier League and not correct him. It's not acceptable. Big Ange did something at Celtic, comes over to Premier League, absolutely whack, and people still like him. So I don't.
I've seen your comment, actually. I never said that, by the way. Yeah, I said, is he, you know,
that's a running joke between me and you, Joe. You pick your favourite manager and then you never shut up about him.
Emmett says, just had my tower crane erected at Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, here for a week. Amazing views, even the polar bears wear white. Love that, Emmett. Enjoy work, my man. Owners can't talk about owners can't talk about being out with first place to play for. Rock the boat with 2 games left and silverware. This
is fishbait.
This is fishbait and lazy writing. Big up, Gary Paul. And Emmett has just become a member as well. And I think that's that for the super chats. But yeah, all good in the hood. So, do we start the Premier League campaign with him as manager, lads?
100%.
Oh, that's Farke. That's Farke confidence. That is. What about you, Jack?
He's inspired me to say 100%. Yeah. On the Farke hype.
I'm 75 just because of that no comment. It's scaring me, the no comment thing. I won't lie to you, but we'll see. I want him to, but that's what I was gonna. The next question: do you want him to? I think we're all in agreement, aren't we, that we do think he deserves a chance.
I honestly think, just to not be on if they're 2 separate questions, and I can answer that, and I agree. I'm 70, 80, 85% certain that this is nonsense and the 49ers are just doing the job, basically. But they will be having a conversation, as they will every 2 months, do you reckon? They'll sit down and have a proper chat about where the club's going and what's happening. They're in constant communication with each other. Whether or not I would pick him is 100% I'd pick him. Yeah. But I can be pretty easily swayed if Bielsa's coming back or something, so I don't know.
Yeah. Do
you Premier League fire beast?
Do you think the new manager will be all right with Parag stepping in, though, Jack? That's the point, isn't it?
Well, probably. He'll have to be, won't he?
He'll have to be, yeah.
It depends
in the contract, just so you're aware, at times I will step in.
Still unbeaten.
I just want to read, because I've seen loads of your comments tonight, Sean. I know you don't want him for the Prem. Okay, that's fine. But why do you not like him? We've just broke records, man. We're going to win the league, bro.
He's ace. Did you not see him chilling on
Yeah, man.
It was just like,
wasn't it? He's
chilling.
cool. Yeah, man.
He's cool
Even
as a
when he was
cucumber,
doing that,
man.
when he come on like that.
He loves it. He's a little like he's got a bit about him.
Yeah, he has.
To not like him's crazy, and he's so
Yeah,
calm.
to not like him.
Like,
Yeah,
what don't you like about him? That's what I mean. And you can say like, it's not your favorite type of football, but you can't argue with the numbers he's put together. So because it's not my favorite football, it's not scintillating wild football, but you win a lot of games, you get 6 and 7-0 and stuff. I'll take it.
100%.
If Burnley fans can like Parker, how the fuck can we not like Farke?
That's
you know
part of it, isn't it? I agree, Luke. It's a bit embarrassing, really, when people are liking Farke. And we are spoiled because of Bielsa. Because really, I'm saying that I don't think Farke ball's
So you do like him then, Sean? You do like him then?
What do you know about his Prem qualities other than the team that he inherited at Norwich and tried keeping him up?
And you didn't watch Norwich every week, man.
Did he? He just looked at the reports.
And just like I do. I just went, we were a bit shit, lost loads of games.
They were. I remember Liverpool.
Terrible.
Suarez.
He's still a club icon up there. You speak to the majority of Norwich fans, and they speak highly of him.
Because they're aware how hard it is as well. And he gave him a little bit of sunlight. Do you know what I mean? And then the sunlight died like it always does.
Granted, we're not Norwich, and our aspirations do need to be much higher. But ultimately, we're in the same position as they were. We're promoted out of the Championship, and the golfing class is huge. And we just need to we need to take one step at a time. We're not going to be competing for Champions League next year. Get over it. And let's well, unless you're Jack and we're going for the title, but yeah, we just need to be grounded a little bit. I just think we get a little bit excited as a fan base, and there are a lot of conflicting arguments, shall we say, because we are that passionate as a fan base, and it's cool. It's good to read,
bro. Right, okay, watch. Right, are you right? Wait there. Okay, you ready? 1 second. Right there, mate. Sorry. I will find it. No, I like Germans, just not Farke. That is exactly what you said. So, and no one said hate, sorry. Hate, like, it's the same. Anyway.
Hate liking his hate, so.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move. Right, listen, folks, smash a like on the video. Go check out Jack City. Go check out Ought to Know Better. Tomorrow is Thursday. There won't be a presser, I don't think. So the game's not till Monday. It'll probably be Friday. So yeah, maybe he won't be asked questions about it. Actually, they might get told not to. I don't know, but it's been a great show tonight. We've had 1,000 live viewers watching as well, which is amazing. So big up to you all. Here we go. Look, there's some sensible. This is a Sheffield United fan, by the way, who says, as an outsider from Sheffield United, I'd say Farke deserves a chance to prove himself in the Prem. Norwich never gave him the backing. The 49ers can give him a chance to fail. He deserves it. Exactly. And those that want him gone can say, told you we should have sacked him in summer, and we'll have to just accept it and go, yeah, you were right. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if that makes them right, but yeah.
No, I know, but I'm throwing them a bone, Jack.
No, I know what you're saying. I'd take it on chin and go, well, are you happy that you're right then? I'm glad you take
happy that we're failing, yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. If you're happy that we're going down and Farke's failed in the Prem again, get to bed, mate. Get some sleep.
Yeah. Anyway, keep the faith, Leeds fans. Daniel is your man in the Championship. That's from a Norwich fan. There you go. See? It'd be crazy to sack him, is all our opinions. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, there'll be no doubt some news we'll discuss tomorrow, because now that we're confirmed, every man and his dog has been linked to Leeds United, which is great for content. Anyway, we'll see you in a bit, folks. Bye-bye.